If you've just received your S23 Ultra like we have, then there's a few things that you might want to do to make it that little bit better. The first thing you'll want to do is change the settings of your power button. Now, out of the box, if you press and hold it, you'll get Bixby. And if you're like me, you probably don't like Bixby. So all you have to do, swipe down, go into settings, then press the search icon, and then search power. And then you can see side key. In there, you've got a couple of different settings. You've got the press and hold, which we just discussed. And if you don't like Bixby, I would personally change that to power off menu. Unfortunately, they haven't opened up this button to be able to do anything else when you press and hold it. However, thankfully the double press will be able to. So by default, it will launch the camera, which personally I actually quite like. However, if you're someone that uses voice notes a lot for your job, then you may want it to open that app. Or say if you want it to open maps, if you're always traveling around the country for your job, then you can easily just double press it and then Google Maps will open as well. I think a really handy feature, and it's just a way to get a quick shortcut on your phone without even having to unlock it. The next tip is all to do with the display. So again, you're going to want to go into settings. Swipe down and tap that settings icon. Then you can scroll down to display. And then in here, there's a whole host of options. First of which, you've got adaptive brightness, which will obviously automatically dim and brighten the phone depending on the settings around. This makes it easier to see your screen and can save you battery life. The next setting in here, we've got motion smoothness. Now, out of the box, it should be on adaptive, which personally is what you'd want to keep it on. This will allow the refresh rate to go all the way up to 120 Hz rather than the stock 60 Hz on standard. Now, under the same section, we've got screen mode. Now in here, you can change it from vivid to natural, and you can also just easily adjust the white balance from cool to warm. However, what they've added this year is advanced settings. In here, you can change the RGB values of the screen so it will closely match your laptop. This is handy if you're constantly switching between the two, or you're editing photos and want them to look the same on your phone as they do on your laptop screen. Next up, we've got screen resolution. Now, out of the box, you're actually only getting full HD+. This is set at 1080p. However, we do have another option here, which is WQHD+. This will set it at 1440p. This means the overall screen will be sharper and a little bit nicer to look at. However, it will use the most battery life. So if you're on a trip and want to conserve battery life, you may want to swap it back down to full HD or even HD if it's a longer trip. Next up, if you're coming from an iPhone, you may not like the button layout at the bottom. Now, there's a few different options we've got here. Here you can pick between having the buttons and changing the button order as well. So you can have back set to the left, which is personally how I used to have it on my Samsung. Or you can change it to swipe gestures, which will essentially mimic what the iPhone's navigation is like. This means you'll be able to swipe up to go home and then swipe up and hold to get your multitasking. The last settings we'll want to go into are called modes and routines. Now, if you've come from an iPhone, like I was saying before, you're probably used to focus modes. It works in pretty much the same way. However, I do like how integrated Samsung's version is. Now, swipe down and tap that settings icon last time. Tap modes and routines, which is at the top. And then in here, you can set different modes and routines depending on different situations. So by default, there's sleep in here, there's theatre, driving, exercise, and various things like that. So obviously in sleep, you probably want to limit all notifications from coming through to maybe just calls and things for emergencies. I know I personally use these modes on my iPhone for when I'm exercising. So I only receive texts and calls off certain people. That means the others can wait until I'm finished with my run. Your S23 Ultra is now completely set up and ready for you to use. If you've got any top tips, make sure you drop them in the comments below. And if you'd like to check out some S23 Ultra screen protectors and cases, make sure you check out the links down there too.